This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Do Go On. My name is Dave Warnocky and I'm here with Jess Perkins and Matt Stewart. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
It's really good to be here.
A pleasure, as always.
I think some people think that this is your show and we're sort of like permanent
Recurring
guest hosts.
Yeah.
Recurring guest. Oh, that's good.
Don't you think that's weird, Dave? Do you want to set the record straight now and just let everyone know that Jess and I are as, if not more important than you?
Yeah, let them know that we're as, if not more, important than you.
So you're co-stars. So you want?
If
is that what
not-
you want?
Even slightly higher stars.
No. I think the credits would go Do Go On, starring Dave Warnocky,
Interesting.
co-starring Matt Stewart,
And-
special guest star
No.
Jess Perkins.
No. I want and introducing.
Yeah, and
Oh,
introducing
I want
it.
introducing.
Every week, 100 weeks in a row.
Could we do it like this? Starring Dave Warnocky, introducing Jess Perkins, and as old man Matt Stewart.
That's great.
My favourite ones are when the last bit of the credits,
Yeah.
for some reason, the only one that says "and as" and their character name. For some reason, I never got why that
and
was.
as TJ Swithers, Matt Stewart. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Who are the others?
And
Yeah.
as old man.
No, I would like it to be the original Gilligan's Island style, which is, and the rest. The rest were two more people.
That
Just
is
say
brutal.
it.
So later on, when the show got popular, they would change and the rest to the Professor and Mary Ann. But before that, the Professor and Mary Ann with the rest.
Oh, that's brutal.
They've named 6 people, and then there's 2 more. Just name them.
two more.
Maybe
Or
when
don't
they-
name them all.
So Dave, Matt, and the rest.
And the Jess.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
the
So-
jest. You
Yeah.
are the jest of the program, aren't you?
Of the program.
Would you call this a program?
On today's program.
Well, on today's program, exciting developments, some announcements. If,
Oh my
if
God.
I, as the star of the show, could bring this to the table.
Please tell us your news, star of the show.
Well, this star of the show has just sold out our Sydney podcast. Thank you so much for everyone who's bought tickets to that. And because you guys have sold the Sydney show, we've got our 100th episode coming up. We decided to chuck a party for it. We're going to do a live podcast, our 100th episode here in Melbourne town.
The beautiful town of Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Town.
We're travelling all the way
Wow.
to Melbourne.
Yeah.
We're going to go back.
Yeah, going back to where
after
it all
Sydney.
began.
Yep.
Yeah, we are not moving to Sydney. So
But
that's
for those in Europe, it's sort of in you as well because it's at the European Beer Cafe.
That's right. We're doing it on a Saturday afternoon, Saturday, September the 16th. So a few weeks after the Sydney show at 5 p.m. And we just put the tickets on sale a couple of days ago, already flying out the door.
Zooming out the door.
It's really exciting.
My eyes have just turned into dollar signs. I'm just thinking about that cold hard cash.
That's right.
You've been
Going
really given
straight
a
to my pocket.
Oh, I didn't know where you were going to go with
You
that
guys are-
purr
You
there.
guys are paying my rent. That's not
Yeah,
true.
I'm putting any ticket money onto the bar.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
we're going to party that night. It's our 100th
Oh, yeah,
birthday
Saturday.
episode. No, it's not a birthday.
100th birthday for
We
you,
went.
Matt. You are 100 years old.
Anyway, that's enough bookkeeping for now. But here's some more bookkeeping. The Sydney show that we have sold out. Well, the night before, I have not sold out as yet. My show. I'm doing a show at the Giant Dwarf with Nick Kappa, one of my favourite comedians.
So you're doing your festival shows that you both did, the Melbourne Comedy Festival.
I'm doing my show Pretty Dry, and Kappa's doing a show Chrome Doggy. I think you can get tickets together for cheaper, or either solo or both together for some sort of discount. But here's a further discount for Do Go On listeners.
Ooh.
It'd be really cool for anyone who's coming to the other show, or if you're just free on the Saturday and not on the Sunday.
This is August the 26th.
August the 26th. It's a 7:30 show, doors 6:30, and the discount code for 15% off tickets is Do Go On. Lower caps. I'm not sure if that matters, but also before that.
You didn't tell me what time doors close, and I'm
Okay.
worried.
Doors closed. Well, in Sydney, I think they have to close at a pretty early hour
That's
because
actually
it's
true.
a bloody nanny state up there. And then, but before that, in Brisbane, I'm going to Brisbane. I think I mentioned that briefly recently. I'm going up to test the waters because Dave and Jess don't have the bloody guts to go to the Maroon State,
Yeah.
Queenslander.
I do not trust those Queenslander.
No.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
They're scared of Thursto, and maybe they should be. He's a big old guy, but he's injured at the moment, so I don't know if that.
Yeah, I
anyway,
reckon-
he's
I reckon
a rugby.
I
league
know who
player.
Thursto is.
great.
Don't you
You were looking
point at me like that.
You
Never-
looked at me like I was talking gibberish.
Which you always are.
I've never heard anyone call him Thursto.
Haven't you? That's what they call him.
Really?
Anyway,
He's
so,
JT to me.
Okay. All right.
anyway, I'm in Brisbane for the Briz Funny Fest on the 12th, 13th, and 15th of August, and the code they've given me for a discount for you guys. I don't know. This is a much longer one. Anyway, it's also 15% off. BrizFunnyFest.com, and the code is Keen for Peen in Briz, which is quite long.
Who chose
I
that?
don't know. I'm not sure who chose it, to be honest.
I love it.
Keen for Peen, and the 4 is FOR, so KENFORPENBRIS. Sorry for that super tediousness for everyone outside of Brisbane. But please come, because if you come and tell me there that you're keen for Do Go On, and maybe we'll take some photos with you guys, I'll send it directly to Jess and Dave. And maybe they can bloody harden up.
Because I'm just not convinced that we have any friends in Queensland.
I'm sure we do.
And I will not travel somewhere I do not have friends.
Apart from Thursto, of course.
Yeah, true, good point.
JT will be front and centre.
Literally going to Queensland this weekend to visit friends. So,
Oh, there you go.
So,
you
yeah.
should also ask up there.
Okay, I'll ask around.
Because I'd be really keen to do a live podcast up there as well as in Ohio, obviously, America, the UK,
We've got a lot
Germany,
of live shows to do, yeah.
South Africa.
We also forgot to
rest of
mention,
Africa.
when we were up in
Iceland.
Sydney, doing that show. What
Japan.
date were you doing your show?
In Sydney, the 26th.
26th.
Is that anything?
26th of August, was it?
August, yeah.
Rings a bell.
I genuinely don't know what. It's the day before the podcast. Is that what you mean?
Podcast Eve.
It's one of your birthdays as well. I get it. Very good. Probably Jess's because she's making a big deal out of it right now.
It is my birthday, that is correct, yes.
And
Dave's
you guys
is
are going to come to the
28th.
show. So
We'll be at the show. We'll be at
We're
Matt's
there?
show.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Wait, you're giving us free tickets, yeah?
You guys, I've given you a discount code. It's not quite 15%. That's for Do Go On listeners only. I'm going to organise you a 10% discount code.
Oh.
I sometimes listen back to these.
Okay.
What will our code be? Fuck off, Jess and Dave.
Now you can use Do Go On as well.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, I
Dave,
think
can you book the tickets and I'll pay you back?
Yeah.
No, birthday present. It's my birthday present.
let's get cracking with this show. I think it's quite a big report,
Okay.
and I think it's a really good one. And holy shit, I'm nervous about it because it is. My brain was exploding. You know those ones where you're like following rabbits everywhere down the rabbit holes, and
Right.
I was.
Down the holes.
Oh, hang on. So yeah, it's just a real. It was a bit of a sprawling thing. I think I've found a few nuggets in this.
Few nugs.
Few little nuggies, and delicious. So let's get on with it.
Okay.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Well, we do always start with a question, so that would be traditional yes.
All right. Well, this is basically asking the question. Have you guys heard of this topic? But I'll ask the question and see.
And you guys give me shit for not writing questions.
Well, I've written it.
All right. No,
It's
well
from
played.
the words are here on the
Okay.
screen.
Yeah, no, can't
And
argue.
Because I hadn't heard of this at all.
Okay.
The question is, what secret department did Winston Churchill set up to help win World War II for the Allies?
Ooh.
Winnie Boys. The Winnie Blues.
That's a cigarette brand in Australia.
The Churchill chaps. Oh my god, I made Matt laugh. You never make Matt laugh. I
Laugh
saw
all-
his teeth. Like
laugh
he
all the
bared
time.
teeth.
You should. I did a web series show the other day. And I couldn't stop laughing.
I know. It was
On,
the best.
Game.
Game. You really laughed. That was nice.
I really
It's
laughed.
nice
Adam
to
Knox
see.
was on there. Actually, everyone. Kate Dennett and Evan Munro Smith were all in fine form,
Yeah.
making me bloody lol hard. Dave, any idea? Do you know
Have
it?
you heard of the Churchill chaps?
Gallipoli 2.0, even more fucked than the first time. Because that was all Churchill's fault. Okay.
Was it?
Oh, yeah. He plotted that and really fucked it.
No. What? The topic, as suggested.
Churchill chaps.
This wasn't the official name, but this is sort of an unofficial name of it. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Oh, that is a cool title.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna admit that It's better than Churchill chaps.
Wow.
It's
I'm
close.
willing to admit that.
They
That's
they
great.
took them both to focus groups, and they both polled well, but one polled better than the other.
Sure.
This has actually been suggested by a few different listeners, including Lords, Arambasa, and Dolan. But the reason I'm doing this
Sorry,
topic today,
pardon. I'm
Dave,
gonna-
if you could just let me finish the.
what is
fucking sentence.
Laurel?
Well, it's someone Lords. Lords.
How do you spell that?
Laurids. Lords.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. Mhm.
Carry on.
But the reason I'm doing this topic today, as I was saying, is because it was put in the golden hat by legendary listener and Patreon supporter Rowan Epstein.
Rowan.
Rowan, who we have met in real life.
We have.
and appreciated his company in real life.
Mm.
Hopefully see you at the 100th episode, Rowan.
I feel like he'd be there. If he can. If he's free and if he's available and he can make it, I reckon he'll be there.
Thank you, Rowan.
Thanks so much for
Awesome.
the
Good one,
suggestion.
Rowan.
Great suggestion. He suggested it as the Ministry
Is
of...
it Epstein?
I think it's Epstein.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I was corrected on that recently, that spelling,
Uh-huh.
the E and the I. Because I grew up in the electorate of Goldstein,
Uh-huh.
and we were shooting a show here with the member for Goldstein, the federal member, Tim Wilson. He was shooting... And I'm like, I grew up in Goldstein. He's like, actually, it's pronounced Goldstein. The Special Operations Executive is what it was more officially known as.
Special Operations.
So the SOE, the Special Operations
SOE.
Executive.
Yeah, I can see why the Ungentlemanly Warfare is really stuck.
Yeah.
It sounds like a movie franchise. you
It's
know?
also, this is closer to what Jess was saying, but some people have called it Churchill's Secret Army, which is pretty close to the Churchill chaps, which I'm happy to go with if you like.
I want to. Yes, please.
The Churchill chaps were formed when 3 secret British war departments merged after the start of World War II, so soon after the start.
Mm.
These departments were...
How did they know of each other if they were all secret?
Well, the people from above were merging. It was Churchill... Oh, I'm sorry, Jess. That's really... Don't answer seriously. Jess never says anything serious. So the first one was MIR, which was like MI6 and all that. You know, I didn't realize there's MI6, MI5. There's been a bunch of different ones.
Oh.
MIR, MI is military intelligence, and the R is research. Oh, fuck, sorry.
Nah, it's alright. I wouldn't have got that.
Which is a department of the War Office that was charged with researching guerrilla warfare. Also, Department EH, which is named after the building it was set up in. So it's pretty boring.
What should we call it?
Remember.
Hey, that sign says EH.
Yeah.
We got it.
Nailed it.
No one will ever know where our headquarters are either.
And that's lunch.
That was a propaganda organisation, which was created by the Foreign Office. And section...
A company that's a whole job is to come up with like catchy slogans. Let's call it EH.
EH.
Great.
Mm.
In. And then thirdly, Section D, which I like. I love Section D. A propaganda and sabotage arm of the Secret Intelligence Service, aka SIS, aka MI6. Wow, I found it hard to say AKA then.
Mm.
Oh, that was interesting, wasn't it? The
can't
things
tell
you
if-
learn about yourself.
Can't tell if AKA is part of the title of this. AKA MI6.
Yeah.
AKA as in also known as, Dave. Keep up, man.
Keep up, man. All right.
But I was confused. I thought it was AKA MI6. Also known as AKA MI6.
Well, yeah. As of now, it is AKA MI6. Those...
Sail away, sail away. AKA my 6. I'm so sorry.
Little Enya there, Dave. How'd that make you feel?
Right.
For our Irish listeners.
I'm so sorry.
Though there were some loose arrangements between the 3 departments, like they were aware of each other, obviously. They overlapped in objectives, at some objectives, and at times they even duplicated each other's work, especially the propaganda work of Section D in Department EH. Following the resignation of Neville Chamberlain on May the 10th, 1940, Winston Churchill became the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. This is about 9 months after Britain was already in World War II, which I didn't realise, but I'm not so great with World War II stuff. You are, Dave, though, from memory. You know a fair bit about it.
Oh.
You know much about Nev's work? He sort of lost the confidence of the Parliament and the people a bit. And that's
He
what
just-
led to Churchill
And you know what?
stepping up.
It's just that he needed to just own it.
He
Just be
did.
more confident. Just like fake it till you make it. You know, you appear confident. People have confidence in you. Do you know what I mean?
I think I do. Within a month of taking office, Churchill was working towards combining the three departments into one old super badass war organisation. After appointing his Minister of Economic Warfare, Hugh Dalton, with the responsibility of the new organisation, Churchill reportedly said, "And now set Europe ablaze." That's like a famous quote of his about it, apparently.
It's a good one.
And now set Europe ablaze.
Sir, I just need to remind you that you are technically part of Europe.
Burn us down.
Burn it down.
Start to this room we're standing in right now.
Is that? Have you got matches on you? Okay, let's go.
Because I am an alcoholic and very flammable. He was a big alco guy, wasn't he, Churchill?
I think so.
I think a big drinker, but
Big
yeah.
drinker, sorry. Didn't mean to throw words like alco around like that. That's not cool.
Takes one to know one. Yeah.
On the 22nd of July 1940, the Special Operations Executive was officially formed by Dalton with a charter to sabotage, conduct reconnaissance and espionage in occupied Europe and to help resistance movements on the ground. Dalton is said to have used the IRA's work during the Irish War of Independence as a bit of a blueprint.
So, sorry, sabotage,
Sabotage.
espionage, and what was the middle one?
Conduct reconnaissance.
Reconnaissance.
Nigel Farage.
Of those, sabotage, reconnaissance, and espionage. What's your favourite? Oh, there's three of them. We can have one each.
Well, reconnaissance is fucking boring in
I like,
comparison.
sabotage.
It's a lot more safe.
Yeah, which I feel like is you. You'd be the safe one. You're not going to go in for any espionage, are you?
How do you know I haven't been undercover this whole time?
Come on, mate.
Oh, no.
In that outfit.
It's just so crazy it might be believable. No one would dress like that. And really?
No one would behave the way he does.
Yeah, I reckon they would. In November 1940, as the Nazi Air Force, the Luftwaffe...
Great phrase, isn't it?
It is great.
Luftwaffe.
It's not quite right, is it? Didn't quite nail it.
No, it's Luftwaffe.
It's 99 Luftwaffe balloons. As the Luftwaffe was bombing central London, the Special Operations Executive set up its headquarters in two flats on Baker Street.
Baker Street?
Oh no, that's not... What was that? Chicago.
You want...
I went the wrong way. Yeah, that's what I was going for.
His face is the best.
When he converts it into a sax.
What are his lips doing? Why can't he make eye contact with us?
That was my impression of a man who hadn't played the saxophone in 50 years, picking it up for the first time. I think I remember a song.
And it was interesting. So this is where they set up. Right. This is all interesting. I was about to go off on a tangent. I've written so many, I don't need to go off onto others. From this base, they began to recruit agents. According to a Nigel Morris article for the BBC, he said, senior staff at the SOE were invariably ex-public school and Oxbridge, which I didn't know what it meant. I looked it up. Public school in the UK means private school.
Oh, that's private school, so they're
Which
all
is
wealthy,
confusing.
tough types.
And Oxbridge means Oxford and Cambridge.
Oh,
So yeah,
that makes
so they're
sense.
all sort of the exclusively educated types.
Because you can trust them, because if they're already rich, they're happy,
They're
right?
they're not motivated by money because they already have money.
Exactly.
You can't bribe them because they're like, that's pocket change for me. Are
Yeah.
you kidding?
I think it. Yeah, well, that's just the top brass anyway. That's the officers and that sort of stuff. But he goes on to say that the agents came from all walks and included a former chef, an electrician, several journalists, and the daughter of a Brixton motorcar dealer.
That's pretty cool.
It does say, at first I thought it was going to be like, guys, we've got people from all walks of life. Greg knows a chef. So,
His personal one.
guys, he only just got into Oxford.
I really thought,
So he's pretty average.
I really thought Jess, you might have the last one there. It was
She's the daughter of something.
this is a woman who probably has her own things, but she's listed here because her dad sold cars. So weird. Oh, her dad did a job.
Oh, she's in.
It just seemed really funny to me. Anyway.
Yeah. I noticed you looked straight at me and I was like...
Because normally, whenever someone said, and his wife,
Yeah.
you'd be like, what's the fucking wife's name? So I thought it might have been a similar scenario, but I was wrong. I had written in there, pause for Jess to go on rant.
The podcast will now be 10 minutes shorter than expected.
So anyway, it was a bit of a cross-section of society. As missions were undertaken behind enemy lines. So this is what it was all about. It was about little guerrilla crews going behind enemy lines and just fucking shit up.
All right, so we've got Sarah here. Her dad owns a car dealership. How can we best use her skills? All right, we'll send her into Berlin, and she'll take a car for a spin. And when it's out, she'll put a bomb underneath it. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, good.
Does she speak German? Nah. Don't need it.
Can she drive? Nah.
No, but her dad does, so it's all about her dad.
Interesting you mentioned that. Obviously, it was important that the agents had a deep knowledge of the country where they would operate. They needed to speak the language fluently.
Yeah, she speaks car. All right. She doesn't. She goes into the dealership, Guten Tag, and she just goes, brum brum, brum me, brum brum. Oh,
Welcome.
welcome to my city, brum brum.
Do you sprechen the broom?
Können Sie Brum sprechen?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So in at this time, if they were dual citizens, that was seen as a real bonus. Obviously, because you don't need to forge passports and documents that way. The SOE was ahead of the game with its use of women in armed combat,
Fuck off.
as those sent into the field were trained to use weapons and in unarmed combat.
But I mean, they're still wearing aprons while they do it, so it's okay.
But at the time, they would normally make them wear 2 aprons, so it was
Very
seen
progressive.
as being progressive, just the one.
And pretty dangerous too.
Of their 55 female agents that they had over through the war, 13 were killed in action or in Nazi concentration camps. So they were seeing active, dangerous action, which, across the rest of the army at that stage wasn't happening as much, I believe.
Wow.
But like I say, I don't fucking know anything.
Hey, you were
What are you
around.
listening to me for? I was around, but I was hiding in a bunker. Real weird thing happened towards the end of the war. This guy with a little mustache came in. Couldn't understand a word he was saying, but he was there with his niece.
Was he
They
just-
were fucking like nobody's business? I think. I was trying not to look. Anyway, ended up with a bullet in his brain. Weird chap, weird guy.
Was he brumming at you?
He was Eva brooming at me.
Wow.
Well, that's the best joke of the pod.
While this recruitment process is happening, this guy that I like mainly for his name, but he's also seems like he's one of those classic war guys that we've been talking about through past episodes where they're just those sort of badass guys. His name is Colonel Colin Gubbins, which is pretty cool.
Fuck yeah.
Colin's a badass name, isn't it?
Is that the name of your car?
Yes. And it's a pretty cool car.
It is a cool car. Yeah. The Gubbins. It was mainly the Gubbins.
All right.
And
Bad boys. What you gonna do? Colin's here to fuck shit up.
Not Colin. He's got a real reputation.
Gubbins. Anyway, he was SOE's head of training and operations, and he started turning properties and mansions across the UK into agent training bases. So according to Morris, new agents were taught how to kill with their bare hands, how to disguise themselves, how to derail a train, and even how to get out of a pair of handcuffs with a piece of thin wire and a diary pencil. If an agent survived these tests and a grueling parachute course, they were ready to go. They love parachutes in this. A lot of parachuting in. A lot of these missions were parachute in.
But not many parachuted out.
Which
No.
is
It was
interesting.
quite difficult,
Yeah.
even with a pencil diary.
Yeah, they just didn't get it. They taught and they taught real hard. They taught hard, but
Colin, he teaches hard.
yeah.
I love the idea that they think that they'll always have a diary pencil on hand. It's
Yeah,
like,
obviously.
well, when you're in handcuffs, they'll expect you to keep a journal.
Yeah.
It's
Dear
very
Diary.
difficult to write.
Dear Diary, day 3.
Still cuffed. Hang on. It's been in my hands all along. SOE also employed scientists to invent weapons of war in what Morris describes as the 007 factor. Unigrads working for the SOE invented devices such as the single-shot cigarette pistol and the Sleeping Beauty, which was a submersible canoe. SOE workshops also created carborundum, which was an abrasive grease that could bring a steam train to an immediate standstill.
How?
They invented
How?
carborundum.
Wait, grease.
Grease, yeah,
It was a
apparently.
type of grease
But
that's
it was
gonna stop
abrasive grease. So if there was a certain way that they rubbed it onto the tracks.
Rub it the wrong way, eh?
Yeah, you gotta rub it the right way.
rub the train the wrong way.
Yeah,
but
and
stop it.
you'll stop it dead in its tracks.
Wow. That's fascinating.
Yeah. So yeah, it's sort of fun. Like all these, just like going, invent some cool shit. They also had a camouflage section, which was run by a film director named Elder Willis.
I can see you! You have failed!
He oversaw a team of movie prop makers. So I love it. It's just people from everywhere coming in. Many simple yet ingenious items were created, such as a fake tree trunk mold that could conceal radio equipment, and fake camel shit that was actually a booby trap.
Okay.
So
Okay,
it looks like camel shit, and you drop it in the,
What, in Berlin?
In Berlin,
downtown
or-
Berlin with
And
a
then
camels.
what? And then what? If somebody goes over and is like, let me inspect this pile of camel shit?
No, it's like, like a mine. So you'd put camel shit on the road, and cars or whatever are
Shit.
happy to drive over them. But
Bang.
Now, what they'd really do is they'd get camel shit, and inside there'd be dog shit. So the people inspecting the camel shit, they'd be like, this is just camel shit, this is dried up. They'd pick it up, it would crumble, and then they get dog shit on their shoes.
and then
Much
the
like
dog shit would crumble, and it'd be human shit.
Yeah.
Their own, somehow. And it'd freak them out. They'd be like, all right, I'm out.
I
How
quit.
would they?
trippy.
How would they know it was their own shit?
Oh, you
Sorry?
don't know your own shit?
Jess, I could recognise my shit in a lineup of 100.
You could, Dave.
Someone will lead me blindfolded to a mystery location, so I don't recognise where I am. I'll shit. I'll trust you to lead me to a safe place. I will shit into a receptacle. You can take a photo of
I
it,
don't want to do that.
and then we'll swap it in with 99 other photos, and I'll be able to pick mine
Okay, I
to
don't
prove that World War II exists.
Hey, he's dedicated to the cause, and I appreciate that. But I shotgun not taking a picture of Dave's shit.
All right, Matt will take the photo. Jess will hold the receptacle.
Damn it!
The
Around his tiny tush.
the
Yeah, you'll have to be.
It's a plastic bag.
I'll have to be pretty accurate.
Does that make sense?
We'll have to be, or a large receptacle. Either or.
Stop.
But don't tell me what you're planning because I don't want to recognise it.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
All right. I appreciate science, unlike you.
Yeah, Jess, wake up.
Sorry, you're right. You love poo chat.
Matt, poo, go on.
The Secret Intelligence Service, now known as the MI6,
Oh,
viewed SOE with great suspicion. The head of the Secret Intelligence Service, Sir Stuart Menzies, wasn't into the work of the SOE at all. He would describe them as amateur, dangerous, and bogus, and campaigned internally against them. But as they were the baby of Prime Minister Churchill, they were
Give it a free pass.
pretty much, they were, as long as Churchill was in charge, they were all good.
Churchill's chaps.
They're the chaps after all. And
Chapettes.
chapettes.
So
Chapinas.
Chapinas.
the SOE,
Chipotle.
it's got three spy military organisations, but not MI6.
No, not MI6. Well, no, those sort of all dissolved into this one. So it's now the one thing. MI6 is still separate.
Right, and they're
establishing
criticising
the
it.
SOS.
Right.
Yeah,
Mm.
they're not into it. Because, I mean, it's to them, it's like... Because they are amateurs. They're literally amateur... No, they're not. They are getting paid a wage. They're literally not amateurs, but they're not well-trained.
Right, they're
In
like
this
film
field.
directors. And
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The SOE the chaps undertook missions right
Thank you.
across the war in numerous countries. One example I'm going to go into a few of them because I thought maybe it was the best way
To learn.
to talk about it, because there were hundreds of missions. So I've just picked out a few to talk about, and hopefully that'll give you a bit of an idea. So one example was Operation Josephine B, also known apparently as Operation Josephine. So anyway, it's like a couple of wildly different names there. Seems confusing. If there are no other lettered Josephines, let's just call...
Yeah.
I reckon the MI6 is right. These are a bunch of amateurs.
So this was in 1941. It was jointly organised with Free France, which I hadn't heard of. You know, Free France was the name of the French government in exile led by Charles de Gaulle, which was set up in London in June 1940. Charles de Gaulle being the big train station in Paris, one of them.
You mean airport?
Airport. Fuck. So this mission was jointly organised with Free France, and the aim of the mission was to blow up the Pessac power station, which was an important piece of infrastructure for the axis of evil. The station was difficult to reach by air, but the plan was to drop a small team nearby via parachute.
Oh, the traditional method. Subtle.
From there...
Yeah, they're never looking at the skies.
Never.
Looking at the ground.
Look at their bloody phones.
They'll be digging up through the ground like moles at any second.
Nah, we're dropping from the skies.
From there, they would break into the station, leave bombs with delayed timers, destroying the bloody joint. That's the plan, right? You feeling sorry for the... Tell me you're not feeling any sympathy for the...
The axis of evil.
Jess?
I mean, they've got families.
Yeah, Nazi families.
Yeah, Nazi children. Nazi dogs. I had a customer the other day at my job whose name was Swastika.
No.
Yeah.
It's first name.
First name. And I was like, I definitely heard that wrong. So later in the conversation, I was like, I'm sorry, what was your name? Can you spell that for me? And it was Swastika.
What was the surname? Smith?
That's definitely... That's someone who's chosen it for himself.
Do you reckon?
Or herself. Yeah, there's no way that parents would have named you that and you grew up and don't go, I'm changing that name. That's someone who's definitely...
I think, obviously I think it was a
picked it for
cultural
themselves.
thing. But, yeah, you would think you would change your name.
The team was made up of 6 Polish volunteers who were trained up for the mission. They set off from a Royal Air Force base near Chichester in West Sussex, but due to a technical fault, a bunch of their equipment was accidentally dropped over the Loire River. The Loire in France. It's like a big river there. I've never seen... How would you say that?
Law.
The Loire. Dropped over the Loire in France, and they had to turn back. The mission was off to a poor start, you could argue. And it only
I will argue.
Okay, we'll argue after I say it only got worse when their plane crash-landed on their return, killing some crew and wounding all the volunteers.
I laughed a little bit too early there.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
So
How-
I hear
what
plane
a-
crash and I think this is going to end very funnily.
What a mess.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so that was just a big old failure. So a second team was put in place. They were keen to make this happen, obviously. This time with Free French forces, so people from the French nationals, including Sergeant J. Foreman, Sub-Lieutenant or Sub-Lieutenant Raymond Cabard, and Sub-Lieutenant or Lieutenant André Varnier, a.k.a. Jacques Leblanc.
I was going to say, these are the least French names ever until the AKA came in.
Jacques.
First guy's name
Leblanc.
was John Foreman.
J. Foreman.
No,
Initial
John.
J. I reckon it was short for Jacques.
John Foreman.
John.
What was the last name? Jacques Lebon.
Jacques
Leblanc.
Leblanc.
Love it.
Love that.
Which means the white, the black, the white.
It's white.
Blanc white.
So that was selected for the mission. So a small team of 3 this time instead of the 6 initially. And I was sent to
You
stations.
could say that's half the size of the team.
What's half the size? They'd downsized for sure.
Who's getting better at math? Not me. Yeah, you're right.
No, you did real well there, Jess.
Thank you.
So I was sent to Station 17 for training in industrial sabotage by inventor, engineer, and soldier Cecil Vanderpeer Clark.
Oh, the Clark ruined it a little bit, didn't it?
CVC. I'm just going to call him Cecil.
Yeah.
He was an interesting guy, this Cecil guy. An inventor, an engineer, a soldier. This guy did it all, and he was one of the big dogs
A lover.
in the chaps. No doubt about that. He was an interesting guy. He grew up in London and was known to his friends as Nobby. In between serving...
Known to his very close friends as Nobby.
In between serving in the First and Second Wars, he worked as a director at a motoring company in Bedford where he registered patents relating to engine design. So he's somewhat of a go-getter, the engineering kind of guy, inventing, very industrious. This guy had it all.
Mm-hmm.
Soon after, he designed his own engine, but shelved the project when he realised
He shelved the project.
Wow.
Up the butt. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
An entire engine.
Entire engine.
Up the butt.
Up the butt. He became
Jeez.
more machine than man.
It was
And that's where it took a real turn.
It's a different time, wasn't it?
That was a different
He
time.
started speaking car, but not out his mouth. Let me just say that.
Out of his butt.
Yeah, brum, brum, brum.
Brum brum indeed.
So he shelved that project because he realised that larger companies would be able to make it happen more economically than he could. He then started his own company designing trailers and caravans as well. And the editor of the Caravan and Trailer magazine met with Cecil for an interview and later described his first impressions of the inventor, saying, "Clark at once fascinated me. He was a very large man with rather hesitant speech, who at first struck me as being amiable but not outstandingly bright. The second part of this impression did not last long."
Oh,
Right,
wait,
so he
He was bright.
He was bright.
he's got to be, right? He's inventing all this
But
stuff.
he
Yeah.
doesn't seem bright.
He didn't say because he's just the way he talks slow and stuff.
Sounds like someone else we know, doesn't it, Dave? Talks a bit slow. Amiable, but not bright. You know?
Yeah, a big man.
Big man.
Large.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Is it the guy? Is it Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, that's who we're
I was
going
gonna
to
say the guy who was once California's governor.
His biggest claim to fame.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know him from that?
Yeah.
His life in politics.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, the politician.
Yeah, the politician.
The famous American
who
politician.
had an affair with his nanny
Yeah.
from Flushing, Queens. She was there to sell makeup, but he saw more.
A lot more.
She had style.
Mr. Chef, Mr. Schwarzenegger. This probably
Miss Fine. That was my auntie.
this podcast
Was it?
hasn't gone to the bloody depths of comedy.
It's fine.
He writes Broadway musicals.
But he could never quite reach the heights of
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Andrew Lloyd
Fuck,
Webber.
he had a big rivalry with Andrew Lloyd.
Him and Arnold Schwarzenegger. So this all probably seems like a bit of a weird tangent. I don't know if you noticed it. I just started going into a backstory.
Oh, about the trailer man.
Yeah. But
Cecil.
Cecil and McRae, the editor, would meet again in 1939. At this point, McRae was now editor of a popular science magazine.
He'd moved up from the Caravans and Trailers magazine. Dream job, by the
Do
way.
you think the background there is that there was a caravan magazine and a trailer magazine? They didn't have enough markets, so they merged. I think that's what's happened.
Possible.
I would like to say that's a fact.
The 30s were a different time.
Trailer mag.
McRae contacted Cecil after being contacted himself by Major Millis Roland Jefferus of the War Office.
Jefferus. I heard your teeth click then. Jefferus.
And this guy had read an article in McRae's science magazine about powerful magnets. The Major wanted McRae to create a kind of explosive that could be magnetically adhered to things like ships under the water. And McRae asked Cecil to help make this happen.
A magnetic explosive.
Yeah. So it could, just stick it under big warships. Cecil agreed, and they set to work. Does that make sense as a phrase?
Yeah.
Great. Making prototypes.
Big,
a big-
amiable, not that bright.
Needs encouragement.
So they started making prototypes with large tin bowls purchased from a local department
Aldi.
store. It was actually Woolworths, but anyway. And using porridge in place of explosives in the early things. It sort of sounds more like they were making breakfast to me.
Porridge in
In
the
bowls.
The part of explosives will be played by porridge.
But that's not how you make explosives.
Suicide bomber rips open their jacket and they're just covered in porridge.
They're damp with porridge.
Give me the cash or everyone dies. So, are you covered in porridge?
Did you spill your
Do
breakfast?
what he says. Do what he says.
He looks unhinged.
They're rolled oats.
Roll dice.
Rolled oats. Anyway, they kept working on it and eventually invented this new kind of mine and named it the limpet mine after the sea snail, known for its ability to adhere to rocks. So quite similar to the bombs, obviously, in that way. The
They could
limpet
adhere
mines,
to rocks.
the limpet mines also had a delay mechanism, so that after it had been put in place, the soldier would have time to get away before the explosion. And that is where the sea creature and the mines differed.
Sea creature had no timer.
You wrote that joke, didn't you? You
Yeah.
fucking wrote that down.
Yeah, I wrote that one down. The sea snail didn't have a delay mechanism, nor did they explode, admittedly.
Oh, two differences.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Wait. When you wrote that today, presumably, did you...
I wrote 2 jokes in this report. That was the first of them.
Oh, there's another one coming.
Yeah, I can't remember where, but there.
That was a two-parter there.
Soon after the limpets had been invented and manufactured, World War II broke. So I've taken you back a step.
Oh, it broke.
So they're preparing for World War II.
This is before, the army came and they sort of know shit's going down, pre-World War II.
It broke. How are they going to stick it back together? Bit of sticky tape.
The World War.
When you break your mum's vase.
The limpet mines were used in many raids in the war, including Operation Jaywick. In September 1943, a small team of Allied commandos raided Japanese shipping in Singapore Harbour, paddling into the harbour, then placing the mines onto multiple ships, sinking or seriously damaging 7 Japanese ships.
Nice one.
So these things that started with bowls of porridge ended up having
Sinking ships.
Sinking ships.
Tell you what, I've had bowls of porridge that have had a similar effect on me.
Loose lips sink ships.
Uh-huh.
If you fill those lips with porridge, you're gonna be sunk.
That's how the saying goes.
It is. Anyway, back to Operation Josephine B, which...
Oh my god, we started talking
Got away
about
from
14
Ferrari.
minutes ago.
So the 3-man team from Free France were sent to Station 17 for training under Cecil's.
So this is second group, because the Polish people crashed.
Yes, the Polish people crashed. This is Team 2, the French. And under Cecil, they learnt well, and they set off on the night of May 11th, parachuting in. They hid their container of equipment, which included these smaller shape-charged limpets that Cecil taught them how to use, I assume. Don't know that for sure, but I guess so. The plan was to obtain bicycles to make a silent getaway. But when they were unable to do so, they couldn't source bicycles. And they also found that the perimeter wall was harder to get over than first thought.
You certainly couldn't ride a bicycle over it.
Because there was a high voltage wire inside the top of the 9-foot wall. So you had to scale this quite large wall, and then there was a high voltage electric wire that you had to somehow get over as well. So they kind of got a bit disheartened. Remember, this is the power station we're trying to blow up.
Yeah,
That
of
was
course.
so long ago that I mentioned that you might have forgotten. But that's what they're trying to do here. They're trying to fuck that shit up. So they were a bit disheartened by these setbacks, and the 3 Frenchmen abandoned the mission and set off for Paris.
Where we will drink wine.
Which was Nazi occupied. I'm pretty sure, wasn't it? Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yes, but depending
That's why
Free
what
France
period is in.
Yes, it must be then this period then.
Yeah. So one of the men, Sergeant J. Foreman, the most French of them all,
John Foreman.
Foreman.
he'd been given an address to go to if need be in Paris, where Allies would be. And at that address, he met Joel Letac, a member of the Free French. He had recently had to abandon a mission himself. This is old mate Letac. He had to abandon a mission himself recently because of outdated intel. So when he heard that they had abandoned their mission for kind of less concrete reasons, he rallied the team and convinced them to head back and complete their mission.
Guys, it's just a wall.
He also went along with them to make sure it happened. So all of a sudden now the team is 4. The new plan was to commandeer a truck to head up to Passac, where the power plant was. But when the truck broke down, they had bicycles instead. So they now had bicycles, and they rode there. found the explosive where they'd hidden them a while back now, nearly a month ago, and found they were still in working order, still good to go. On the night of June 7th, almost a month after they had initially meant to carry out the mission, they were going to have a crack. Sergeant J. Foreman scaled the perimeter wall and was able to make it over while avoiding contact with the electric wire. He was then able to let the rest of the team in with their explosives by opening a door.
It's good stuff. It's a good plan.
It's because of the training of Colin that he was like, I know what to do here. I'm going to open that door.
I'm used to several different types of handle. Wood, ivory, and one other.
But I'll never tell. That's this organization's greatest secret.
That's it.
The bombs were put in place in under half an hour, and the 4 men made their getaways via the bicycles.
The 4 men, including 4 men.
4 men, including Foreman, yeah.
I was thinking the same thing, DW. Oh my God.
So they set the bombs, set the timers,
Get on their bicycles.
got on their bicycles,
Go for
and
a
as they're riding
ride.
away,
Oh, awesome.
behind them, the skies lit up with the explosions. It was a success.
Wow.
Which is just an image that I love. These guys pedaling fast. Yeah, ringing their little
I
bells.
like to imagine there's a basket on the front of one of them and they've got a baguette in there, for later.
That was when I was in France. I've been a couple of times. That was the one, old school bad French cliche that is true. There's people walking around with baguettes everywhere. No berets.
No berets.
No blue and white horizontal striped t-shirts. No red bandanas.
A lot of
around the neck.
baguettes, though.
But baguettes are everywhere, which was the best because I fucking love them.
My
Baguettes
friends,
with mustard and some sort of a cheese.
so much cheese. We just ate a lot of, we'd get a baguette and some brie and just, sit. We had a baguette fight underneath the Eiffel Tower while wearing berets.
Oh, you guys
Wow,
are the worst.
You could
Yep.
get
You're the
you
worst kind of
could
Australian.
Yeah.
really get arrested for that.
Yeah.
They did not take kindly to that.
Nah.
Look at those clearly foreign people
Yeah. Look at those
taking the piss out of us
tourist assholes.
and our great proud culture.
Yeah. Now, come over here and fight me with that baguette.
6 of the intended 8 transformers were destroyed, and as a result, work at the enemy's U-boat base. U-boats are the
It's a German
submarines.
submarines, what they call them, yeah.
So that their U-boat base
Underboat. I get it.
in Bordeaux was severely hampered, as was an electric train system in the southwest of France, which had to be replaced entirely by steam trains. So it was just they wiped out the use of a whole train system.
That is great.
that's
And
cool.
now they just put a little bit of grease on the track.
Yeah.
Suddenly the steam trains
But
stop.
steam trains are just so pretty,
They are, aren't they?
Terrible for the
some-
environment.
Something quite beautiful about them. Except the bad for the environment bit. Yeah, You don't get that in an electric train.
Yeah, electric trains just don't sound like owls.
No. You know when an electric train goes past and goes like, oh, I hate that. Give me a hoot, hoot any day. Give me a hoot any day.
Okay. So the mission was a success.
That's great. I love it.
Mission codenamed Josephine.
Josephine B. Or possibly just Josephine.
So from there, the team were ordered to head for Spain. They asked to be come and collected by a submarine or something. That was the original plan. Was they were going to be come and picked up in a submarine or something and taken back away. But they missed that chance when they fled to Paris. And this time around, they just said, no, you make your own way to Spain, please. Which they did, but they took their time, around 2 months, enjoying their journey, reportedly spending 250,000 francs along the way, which is over 100,000 grand into those
What?
money
100,000 grand.
in 2 months. Is that what I said?
$100 million.
100,000 grand.
Did I say 100,000
Yeah,
grand?
you-
Sorry about that. Take
Just-
the grand bit out.
just
or
100
the
Gs.
1,000.
That's still a lot of.
Big
That's a shitload of money. And,
4 people just. Hey, I love that idea.
reckon we could do it.
did it.
and everyone back at home is just like rationing like crazy.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
That's interesting. How do they get that money? But I think
probably like
Churchill
emergen-
really threw a lot of money.
It's
at
probably like
this
emergency
problem.
money.
Yeah.
And they're just like, well,
This is an emergency.
It's World War II.
Yeah.
If you need to put down a deposit on a home as an emergency, here is a secret fund. Sub-Lieutenant Raymond Cabard was captured on the journey back to Spain, but the other 3 made it to Spain and eventually back to England.
They spent his share of the money.
But Cabard escaped as well and ended up back with the SOE 2. In the aftermath of the mission, that's all fun. Everything up to that point
That's
is
so
good
fun.
amount of fun.
Uh-oh.
But as it often happens, the Nazis come in and make it all a little less fun.
I
So-
always ruin it.
In the aftermath of the mission, the Nazis, they didn't take it well. They didn't know how it happened. So they took it out on the locals. There were fines. 250 locals were jailed, and a curfew was imposed. 9:30 p.m. till 5 a.m. Lockout laws. It's bloody like
Sydney all over again.
Sydney all over again. I think that's even harsher than Sydney's. I think. And a dozen German soldiers who were on duty guarding the station at the time were shot.
That is harsher than Sydney.
That's a little harsher than Sydney. When news of the success of the mission reached Britain, Hugh Dalton, the one of the sort of like
One of the top dogs.
Yeah, one of the top dogs. He's in Parliament, but he's the guy that Churchill gave the responsibility for this whole thing to. Hugh Dalton passed the news on to the PM, Churchill, writing, "We may therefore take it as practically certain that 3, obviously 4, but doesn't matter, he thinks it was 3, but it was 4, that 3 men dropped from an aeroplane have succeeded in destroying an important industrial target. This strongly suggests that many industrial targets, especially if they cover only a very small area, are more effectively attacked by special operations executive methods rather than air bombardment."
Oh, right. So
So they saw that as like, oh, this is good for us. This is a big win for the SOE. The triumph of the mission helped prove that guerrilla operations like this could play a key role in disrupting the German war machine and lead to many, many more similar initiatives. So that's that one. Here's another one. You want to hear about another one?
Nah.
I'm in.
Gee, that could really be the episode, but I've got some more.
Yeah.
Another one they were involved in was called Operation Anthropoid. Anthropoid.
That's how Scheinberg would say it.
The target of this one was Reinhard Heydrich. You familiar with him?
No, but I like his name.
Reinhard.
He was the target of it.
I don't think we like this person.
Adolf Hitler described him as the man with the iron heart.
Whoa, Hitler said that about him.
Yeah.
And Hitler, not the warmest guy, is he?
No, he was a real bad guy. And
Whoa.
So that language is a little bit soft. He was a
Strong word.
Oof. Wow. Haven't had one of those for a while.
amongst
Well, 2 episodes.
amongst many other roles, he was in charge of the Einsteingruppen, which was a special task force that followed behind the German armies, gassing and shooting everyone in their wake, including over 2 million people, 1.3 million of them being Jews.
Whoa.
He was like a massive... I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. This high-up Nazi was a fuckhead. Heydrich had...
Controversial opinion there.
Controversial, sure. Heydrich had been sent to Prague in what was then Czechoslovakia on September the 27th, 1941, and he was appointed Deputy Reich Protector of the Protectorate of Bohemia and Moravia.
Oh, my God.
which
Put
is
that
that
on a
sort of-
business card. Fucking hell.
That was, that's that area. Bohemia is sort of like takes in a bunch of that sort of space.
Bohemia sounds nice. You know?
It
Like,
is.
like a beachy area.
It is now.
You know?
I think it probably
under
was-
Nazi rule, it probably wasn't.
Probably was
the
nice
nicest.
before they came along too, yeah.
Yeah. The actual head Reich protector, Konstantin von Neurath, was officially still the head of the region, but it was in name only, and he was sent on leave because Heinrich Himmler,
Heinrich Himmler, yeah.
Heinrich Himmler, and Heydrich felt that he was too soft on the Czechs.
Whoa.
Upon his appointment, Heydrich reportedly said, "We will Germanize the Czech vermin." He began suppressing Czech culture, like almost instantly, closing down any sort of avenues which the Czech people would express their cultural identity. Different, cultural organisations, those sort of things.
Podcasts, for example.
Podcasts would be
Huge
one
part
of the... He
culture.
probably would have done that, yeah, I reckon. Podcasts would probably want... I wonder how that would work. Anyway, he also began executing members of the Czech resistance. Within 3 days of his arrival in Prague, he had organised the execution of 92 people. According to Heydrich's own estimate, more than 4,000 people were arrested in his first 4 months. there. Many were executed and others were sent to concentration camps, and he quickly earned the nickname the Butcher of Prague.
Oh, that's not a good nickname at all. And you know I love nicknames, but I don't like that one.
Yeah, this guy, it just feels like pure evil.
Yeah.
So I guess that's part of the reason why he became a target of SOE's Operation Anthropoid.
Would he also be the inspiration for Hydra in Captain America?
Yeah, I think who was it? Red Skull. Is that based on someone from? I'm asking Dave. Like,
No, you're looking at me. I haven't even seen the Captain America movie.
Yeah,
Oh
right.
man, you gotta see Captain America.
I'm sure he would have been based on some of the, maybe
Surely.
all of them, or maybe one of them. Maybe Himmler. Himmler was like, he was a comic book evil guy, really, wasn't he?
Dave, watch Captain America, please.
All right, I'll do it for you.
Really good
Thank you.
movie.
For no one
Maybe.
else.
Anyway, the operation was the brainchild of Franciszek Moravec.
There's some tough names in here, but you're doing really well.
But he's a good guy. We're talking.
Yes.
Anthropoid.
So he's the Anthropoid guy. He was the head of the Czech intelligence services. Moravec briefed Colin Gubbins, our man.
Colin.
Of the SOE, as we told. At this time, apparently, he was a brigadier and in charge of the Czech sections of the organizations.
Brigadier.
Gubbins was keen to help. On you, Colin. Moravec handpicked a team of 24 from the 2,000 available Czech soldiers based in Britain at the time, and they went on to train at an SOE training camp in Scotland. The main men were a Slovak named Joseph Gabčík and a Czech named Karol Svoboda. Look, obviously, I'm confident none of these names are quite right. I'm having a crack.
You're really having a crack,
Sorry for any offense caused. The mission, if their families are listening, are like, could you at least get his fucking name right? The mission was set to go down on the 28th of October 1941. This was Czechoslovakia's Independence Day, I think. But it was delayed when Svoboda suffered a head injury while training, which meant that he had to be replaced. And a replacement was found, a man named Jan Kubis, or Jan, or Jan, or Jan. Gabčík and Kubis, along with a team of soldiers, flew out from Britain to Czechoslovakia. They had to wait. It was delayed because he had to finish training. This guy was stepping in. He had to get trained up, and also they had to get his forged documents ready and stuff like that.
Sure. All the paperwork.
All the paperwork.
And
all
he
the
had to
body
give
paint,
2 weeks'
pencil
notice
pushes.
at his last place,
Yep,
so they had to wait for
exactly.
him to be able to start. And
That's
then
right.
training. And then the week that they started training, there was a public holiday, so then they kind of pushed him back a day. So yeah, but it takes a while. You know what it's like.
You know. Admin, hey? Bloody red tape. So they flew out to Czechoslovakia. Once they had landed, they headed to Pilsen, which is where Pilsner beer is from. And they contacted some embedded allies before heading to Prague, where the assassination plot was meant to occur.
Uh-oh. I don't like the word
Meant
to in
No.
that sentence.
Words.
After abandoning a couple of planned attempts, they settled in on a plan to kill Heydrich while he was driving from his Czech home to Prague Castle, which I think was his place of business.
Of course, he's got an evil lair.
Yeah, you're right.
Should see a photo of him.
Prague Castle, Praxel.
What does it mean? There's a clue in that.
Yeah.
I think Prague Castle was already there before he...
No. Praxel. Pretzel.
So that was his daily commute, driving to the castle every day.
The pretzel.
Gabčík and Kubis chose a spot along the route where they knew he would have to slow down. It was on a bend in the road, so they're like, this is where we're going to take him out. On the 27th of May 1942 at 10:30 a.m., Heydrich and his driver left for the castle in his Mercedes convertible. What a leisurely start of the day, eh? 10:30 a.m.
Convertible.
He's got a convertible.
Yeah.
Starting work at 10:30, leaving the house at 10:30. So probably, by the time you get to work, get your
You
cup
get
of coffee.
settled in.
Yeah. Check your emails. He's not starting proper work till at least 11:15 at the absolute earliest.
Yeah.
What a leisurely day. I bet he knocks off early too, eh?
It's classic.
3 o'clock, he's out the door.
So the car reached the curve a few minutes later, and Gabčík jumped out in front of the car with his Sten submachine gun.
Oof.
He attempted to open fire, but the gun jammed.
No.
Do you think they've been planning
happening?
Have they been planning this for months? So what the plan is, jump in front of the car and start shooting.
They had
What's
other
the training?
Well, I mean, the parachuting.
The training should be how to get the gun to work.
Yeah,
and that hasn't worked.
That'd be a key bit of their training. But maybe this next part was part of the training. They stopped the car so that Hydrick could shoot Gabchek with his pistol. So, so the driver Klein stopped the car. So they're like, oh, what's this idiot?
So he just stood up with a pistol and shot him.
That was the plan. But before he could, Kubis pulled out a grenade from his bag and threw it at the Merc. It went bang.
Oh my god.
Good throw?
It was a pretty good throw. It sent shrapnel into Hydrick, but also into Kubis. From there was a shootout before Kubis fled on bike. Hydrick's driver chased Gabchik on foot till he cornered him in a butcher shop. There, Gabchik turned around, shot him twice, and escaped. So he got away.
Oh wow.
Gabchik and Kubis were shattered later. They did both get away. They were shattered later that the attack had failed. Only it hadn't. Hydrick was taken to hospital where it was found that he had suffered major diaphragm, spleen, and lung damage and a fractured rib. Hitler called him the man with the iron heart, but he could now be more accurately called the man with shrapnel in his spleen.
There it is.
Joke number 2.
There's number 2.
That's
Maddie,
funny.
Maddie.
Which I guess is kind of similar. He died from his injuries a week later. So fucking suck it, you fuckhead.
A slow death.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
A slow death.
It's bad, isn't it? But I suppose he's so evil that you can feel good about his death.
As was the Nazis' MO, they reacted badly and they received dodgy intel that the assassins were from local villages Lidus and Lazaki. I'm so sorry, Czech people. The Nazis destroyed both villages, killing 5,000 people.
Oh, no.
And sending most of the rest to brutal Nazi concentration camps.
No.
Fuck.
Wow. That's awful.
Yeah. So that's... It's sort of like... Yeah, there's no happy endings in this, but...
In World War II.
At least that got trapped.
Got trapped.
Is that what they say?
Yep.
There are many more missions that I could talk about. The topic is obviously too big. But these are just 2 small missions inside it. Well, I mean, these are 2 sort of prominent ones, but there are so many. Should I talk about one more, or what do you think? Okay,
Yeah.
It'll be quickish.
Yeah, okay, I reckon one more.
All right, I'll talk about one more, and I won't even use my words. There's a guy called Giles Milton who wrote a book about the SOE entitled
Excellent
"The
name.
Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare."
Oh.
Which is
Giles.
totally about this topic. Giles did, yeah.
Fuck yeah, great name.
I bet he went to Oxbridge.
Yeah, I bet he did too. And I reckon because of this book, I don't know this for sure, but I think he maybe kind of popularized that term a bit more. And maybe the whole thing. I'm guessing that's why people are suggesting this topic with that name is maybe because of this. I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm just going to read a little excerpt from
A passage.
a little passage about one of the ministries, one of the chap's most important missions. So this is in the words of Giles Milton.
Thank you. Take it away, Giles.
It was a few minutes before midnight, and the moon was glancing brightly off the deep snow. In the shadows of the ravine, 10 saboteurs could be seen clambering up the sides of a near vertical cliff, clutching at rocky outcrops and dangling spruce branches. He writes a lot of flowing prose, I guess.
That's beautiful.
There's a little
It's painting a picture.
couple of rhymes in there.
Yeah.
Bit of Shakespeare.
In the distance was
Shakespeare.
Every time.
Never speak over Giles.
So sorry,
It's one rule of Giles.
You're right. Sorry. Continue, please, Giles.
Oh yeah, I'm Giles. Sorry. In the distance was their goal, the looming silhouette of the Norwegian Hydro Norsk heavy water plant. This state-of-the-art factory was of vital importance to the Nazi war machine, the only place capable of producing the heavy water necessary for Hitler to build an atomic bomb. Its destruction was so crucial... to the Allied war...
You can do it.
I was going to say a fort. Its destruction was so crucial to the Allied war effort that Winston Churchill himself had ordered it to be given the highest possible priority. The stakes could not have been higher. If Hitler's scientists managed to build an atomic bomb, they would win the war. But if the factory could be destroyed, then Hitler's atomic ambitions would be at an end. For the mission, Gubbins, a man, selected his Norwegian saboteurs from men who had fled to England following the Nazi invasion of their country. Their leader was a bold 23-year-old named Rocham Ronenberg. He and his comrades were trained by two key members of Gubbins' inner circle, Eric Bill Sykes and William Shanghai Buster Fairbairn.
Oh my god, yes.
He's got two nicknames there? Shanghai Buster.
Shanghai Buster, that's his one nickname. He's the Shanghai Buster.
Fuck, that's good.
Who ran a secret killing school
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Oh no.
at Arasig House in the Scottish Highlands. That was one of the training camps for
Wow.
secret killing school. But yeah,
Don't like that.
it's pretty. It's funny because all of this is like from one side. You're like, it's obviously written as if some of these people on the Allied team were obviously probably a bit fucked as well. Ronenberg's team was parachuted into the Hardanger Plateau, landing in the teeth of an Arctic blizzard within striking distance of Norsk Hydro. Their sabotage mission got underway 10 days later under the cover of darkness.
Darkness.
I really like this Giles character you're putting on.
The saboteurs clambered down into the vertiginous gorge below Norsk Hydro and then began their treacherous ascent. Unseen by the guards, they reached the plant's perimeter fence, and after using bolt cutters to gain access, they split into two prearranged groups. One, led by Ronenberg, was to break into the plant and blow up the equipment. The other was to provide cover against the Gestapo attack. Ronenberg crept through the ventilation duct and attached the explosives. The charges that had been made at Brickentonbury Manor fitted like a glove, he later said. Good on him. The saboteurs were still inside the plant, their Sten guns trained on the German sentry posts when the explosives detonated. The sausage-shaped charges were fabulously destructive, imploding into the machinery and causing catastrophic damage. By the time the alarm was raised, the entire stock of Hitler's heavy water had drained away.
There was shards of wiener everywhere.
The Norsk Hydro mission was textbook guerrilla warfare, brilliantly planned and masterfully executed. Even the Germans were impressed. The commander of the German troops in Norway, General von Falkenhorst, expressed his admiration for the saboteurs' bravado, calling it the most splendid coup of the war. What? Hitler's atomic program had suffered a setback from which it would never recover. Jeez, I imagine Hitler wouldn't have loved that kind of feedback.
Especially when you use the English word splendid.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the coup was rather splendid, Hitler. Oh dear. I shouldn't have said that.
No.
I should have said that to your face.
Anyway, that's the end of the report. I could have kept going and going.
Wow.
So many fascinating little stories in there across all of Europe and even in around Japan. And I'm always a bit wary of romanticizing war too much. I don't know if I've done that in this episode. Probably haven't.
Nah.
I think there's been some pretty real moments.
Yeah, but where are the fun facts?
They were all fun facts. Did you hear about all the explosions? The guy died. The evil guy died.
The gun that
That's
jammed.
fun. That is fun.
Cigarette lighter gun.
That cigarette lighter gun was fun.
The underwater canoe.
I don't know. Hopefully Rowan's happy with those ones.
We just want Rowan to be happy.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Look, I also want everyone to be happy.
No, I just want Rowan to be happy. Fuck everyone else.
And I'm happy, and that's all I care about.
Well, you're involved in my one too.
Great.
By extension.
Matt and I win.
You're part of everyone.
In a way.
To me, I am everyone, so...
But
That
thanks,
makes sense.
guys, for listening. Sorry if that was too brutal for you, Dave. I know you don't like some of that war history.
Yeah, well, I have never done a World War II topic on this show, apart from the Three Monties.
We've done a few war ones now. We also had Mad Jack.
We've done a few episodes.
We have done a few episodes. This is
Yeah.
90
Heaps.
something.
Yeah.
Because we're coming up to the 100th episode.
Yes, we are live September 16th. Get your tickets now.
So excited.
Hey, we should, before we wrap up, we should probably thank a few of our Patreons.
I think we definitely should.
You should tell people how to do that too, Dave, if they wanted to.
Well, if you want to support the show, say you've listened to every episode and you listen every week, then maybe you would like to give back to the show that gives you so much. You can head over
we
to...
couldn't keep a straight face.
I know,
through
sorry, I was really trying to be serious there, but I couldn't. You can head over to patreon.com/dogoonpod, and in exchange for different levels of pledges, you get different levels of reward.
You get different levels of pleasures.
Yes, and treasures.
Ooh,
including
and measures.
bonus episodes. That's one of the treasures.
Mm-hmm.
Or we do updates and stuff on there. You can also pre-sales to live shows and stuff that we do. And also a shout out on the episode to say thank you to the individual people that keep the show running. And I would like to thank, if I could kick off,
Please do.
all the way from Lawrenceville, Georgia.
Georgia.
Where's that? America, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, not Georgia, the country. I'm assuming not. Not Georgia next door to Russia.
Never know.
Could be.
Anyway, who's from Georgia?
I would like to thank, he's the shield
Oh my god.
of this show. It's Anthony Archield. Archield the Shield.
He's our protector.
Oh, thank
Yes,
you,
that's right. Thank
Anthony.
you. Anthony, holding up the fort in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Appreciate your support. Thank you, Anthony. And I'd like to stay...
You're doing a lot of accidental rhymes.
I'd like to stay, if I may,
That was
In the
not accidental
in
at
the
all.
States. I'd like to thank... well, this person... I hope they're listening on Ormond Beach, because that's where they're
Please
from.
stop.
Ormond Beach. Oh, was that a rhyme again?
No, you're just the worst.
Jess really hates
I know,
thanking
she
people.
hates
She
thanking
hates this
people.
segment so
Why
much.
do you hate it?
I don't hate it.
You do. You're so negative.
I love thanking people because I really, I think it's really amazing. But you are just so fucking... You can make a joke out of every single person's name, and then I get to it, I'm like, thank you, Frank. You know?
What Dave's joke just then, the one that really pushed you over the edge, was
I
hope
hope they're
you're
listening
on
on
the
a
beach.
beach.
I hope you're listening at the place you're from.
Which is
Okay, I'm sorry. Go.
Ormond Beach in Florida. I would like to thank Noah Vole.
Oh man, there would have been
Noah.
a few Ormond Beach, Florida listeners sitting on the edge
Yeah,
of
go-
their
here we
seat
go.
for
Is it
a
me? Is
little-
it me? Is it me? But no, it's Noah.
I'm afraid, unless you are Noah Vole, it is not your turn. But please keep waiting on that beach for us. And thank you to Noah Vole.
Good job, Noah. Can I go next?
Yes.
Great. Jess will be like, thank you to blah blah. Good night.
She's left. There she goes.
She's gone bada bing bada boom. Learn from a professional, kid.
No, it's not that I like thanking people. I just find it kind of stressful to make a joke or a pun with every single person. I would just like to genuinely thank people.
I legit just read out with the beach he was from.
Okay, but that's a bad example because you normally... Oh, fuck, I don't know. Anyway, keeping it within the States, interestingly, and within the Anthonys, because you had an Anthony.
I did Anthony Archield, the Shield.
I also have an Anthony.
The Blue Wiggle.
Anthony the Blue Wiggle, my favourite of the Wiggles. But this Anthony is from Utah.
Give me two.
Utah! Meatball!
Give me two. Great. What a great movie.
Oh, it's amazing.
What is that?
It's
Point Break.
Point Break.
Oh.
The original. I don't know. Maybe they said it in the new one as well. Another great cameo was by the Red Hot Chili Peppers singer in that. What's his
Anthony
name?
Kiedis.
Where
Also
he
an
goes-
Anthony.
Anthony.
He goes, but that would be a waste of time.
That's
It's one
good.
of my favourite movie quotes.
That's a good quote.
But that would be a waste of time.
Well, from that Anthony to this Anthony, I hope Anthony Fernelius.
Oh, that's the best Anthony name of all.
That's a pretty good name. I hope he's enjoyed Point Break and also do go on and supporting it.
Hey, Fernelius. Give me two. Make it two.
Meatball!
Meatball!
And also, I would also like to thank from Texas. Wow. Not an Anthony,
Okay.
but a Naomi Chapman.
Oh,
Oh.
good name.
Great name.
Thank you, Naomi.
She'd be a big fan of the chaps.
Oh yeah,
She's a big chap man.
she's one of the original chaps.
Yeah, I bet she was related to one of the chaps.
I-
Maybe Gubbins.
I guarantee she is.
Gubbins changed his name to Chapman soon after the war.
You must.
Chapman for life.
So thank you, Naomi and Anthony, for listening and supporting the podcast.
Hey, I'd love it. I'd love to bring us back to the home front and thank someone from our capital territory, the Australian capital territory.
Canberra.
Well, that's inside the ACT. I don't know if I have time to explain everything about that, but I'd love to thank Laura Cotterill.
Laura.
Cotterill. My dad picks the fruit.
That goes to Cotterill.
Oh, I went to Codrell.
Yeah, that's what I
Codrill.
was thinking as well. That
Ah.
makes a lot more sense
Doesn't make a lot more sense.
than Cotties.
Yeah, well, I don't think Laura's giving me any sort of sick feeling, okay? Maybe if that sick feeling is the sick feeling of being supported by a friend
Or the
of the
sick
podcast.
feeling of drinking way too much cordial.
Yeah, I should have diluted it a bit
So
more.
sure, you just gotta stop drinking it straight.
Man,
Thank
it
you,
makes
Laura.
me feel alive. Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
You legend. I'd also love to thank from San Diego, a whale's
Diego.
vagina, in California, Aaron Stossel.
Aaron.
Stossel.
San Diego.
San Diego. Which I've heard is an amazing place. My brother went there and said he just had the best time. He said it was fucking sick.
Is that your impression of your brother?
He needed Codral afterwards.
Oh.
No, that was just my impression of... No, my brother would have said it like...
Tom.
He would have been more like... Yeah, no, it was really great. Yeah, I had a really good time. Yeah.
But you knew what he meant.
I knew what he meant.
Fucking
What he meant was,
sick.
it was hectic. Bro.
Thanks, Aaron.
Aaron Stossel. I
And
really like
thanks,
your
Tom.
name. Hope I'm saying it right. Yeah, thanks, Tom. He doesn't listen. My sister Alex does. Hey, Alex.
Hi, Alex. I know Alex.
All right, we all know Alex.
I'd like to say hi to Tom for when he finally gets round to listening.
He'll get there eventually.
So that's great. I mean, I'm super blown away all the time. I write newsletters sporadically to the patrons, and I think I probably go on about it too much. But I'm so fucking blown away by the support
Yeah.
of these mad dogs. You guys are the best. I think I love you.
Oh, wow. Matt, be cool. Be
Too
cool. Be
soon.
Okay, play cool.
Play cool.
Hey, cool. All right. Aaron, I just thought maybe, we could see, but maybe one day we could be mates.
There we go. Smooth.
I'm going to come to San Diego.
No. You're on too weird. No, you
Okay.
can't turn up on his doorstep.
Okay.
If you're ever in San
Can I
Diego.
go to the Australian Capital Territory and visit Laura Cotterill?
No, you can't go to a house. It's just...
Not her house, maybe I just the word
Oh my God.
her territory.
And then I'm going to
Okay.
piss in it, so now it's my territory. Like a dog. Yeah?
Yeah, like a mad dog.
All right, I'm going to wrap this up, guys.
Good call. Good call, I
Good
reckon.
call. Thank you so much for listening, guys. If you want to get in contact or buy a ticket to our 100th show, the links are all in the description of this episode. But at Do Go On Pod for Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, you can drop us an email, suggest a topic. We love that. dogoonpod@gmail.com. And yeah, mark it in the diary. September 16th, road trip, 100th episode. Let's do it.
So good. And if you're in Brisbane or Sydney, come see my shows. Brisbane 12th, 13th, 15th of August in the afternoon at Hey Ya Bar, and at the Giant Dwarf in Sydney on the 26th of August. That'll be so cool. to see.
26th of
Yeah.
August.
Unfortunately I'm busy. I had some for any sort of birthdays or any other sort of personal things I won't be able to make. But
It's good that you flagged that early, though. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. But yeah, thanks so much for listening, guys. We'll be back with a new report next week. But until then, I will say goodbye.
Later.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates. I mean, if you want. It's up to you.
Danger.
Sydney sold out. Melbourne's on sale. Matt's coming to Brisbane.
High voltage.